Hey man, whoa, you still using that trash Apple keyboard? Oh hey, yeah, but what's wrong with it? Apple says it delivers a remarkably comfortable and accurate typing experience, which I believe blindly. Bro, don't believe everything you read on that website. Have you ever tried a proper mechanical keyboard before? Mechanical? No, what's that? Trust me, listen. Try this. Oh my god, this thing is amazing! My whole life has been... What's up everyone, it's Aaron from Rudy Visuals, and in today's video we have something a little bit different for you. So I am actually reviewing this, which is the Dergod Fusion mechanical keyboard. Keyboard? Like, isn't this meant to be like a photography and filmmaking channel? Yes, hear me out. I'm actually a kind of a keyboard geek. Yes, that does exist if you're not aware. So, you know, for those of you who are kind of in that circle, you know that there's this really cool, magical community world of mechanical keyboards. So this is my actual current keyboard. So this is from a company called Ducky. This is the 12TKL. So TKL stands for 10 keyless, which basically means it's a little bit smaller than your usual keyboard. For those of you who are like, why on earth would you spend that much on a keyboard? Trust me, once you feel how nice a proper typing mechanical keyboard is compared to a traditional cheapo keyboard, it just feels so much better. It's so much nicer to type on, and it also sounds really good. There's also loads of customizability, not just in terms of like the appearance, but also the key switches. You can change it out to suit your typing needs, basically. Especially when you compare them to kind of like your typical standard like office keyboards. They're slow, plasticky, they just feel really nasty, and they're just, you know, that typical really mushy, nasty feeling. And if you're literally spending like every waking hour of your working day in front of a keyboard, or a big majority of your time in front of a keyboard, you know, the thing that you interface with your computer the most is your mouse and your keyboard. So you really want to kind of like invest in something a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more something that's just going to make you want to use that device. And you know, the keyboards like this, they're just and that's kind of why I wanted to review this keyboard. So when Dergod got in touch with us and said, hey, do you want to check out this keyboard? Yeah, I was just really interested to try it. And also I'm a gamer as well, so yeah, why not? So inside, as you can see, we have the keyboard and typical kind of accessories you would find in a keyboard like this. So we have a USB-C, USB-C cable, USB-C to one of your USB, is it called USB-A? Standard USB cable, and a keycap puller. So this, for those of you who are new to the wonderful world of keyboards, you use to basically pull the keycaps off your keyboard if you want to change the keycaps. And this is basically just a dust cover to put on top of your keyboard. It's actually quite useful to have this to plonk on top of your keyboard if you're watching something on Netflix and you're eating spaghetti or whatever. You don't want to get sauce all over your keyboard. And here is the keyboard itself. Now, unfortunately, it seems like during the shipping, the keycaps fell off. Don't worry, it is a mechanical keyboard that can be put back together again. So I'm just going to put all these keys back in place. Okay, so it's all back together. And so this is the Dergod Fusion. So I'm going to be daily driving this keyboard for 1 week. And we'll fast forward time and then see what we think. Okay guys, so I've had the keyboard now for about 1 week, and I've been using it every day for a week for work, for gaming, for editing, typing. And yeah, my overall impressions are really positive. So let's just talk about some of the features it has first. So first of all, one of the most important things is that it is fully wireless. You can use it via 2.4 gigahertz wireless via a dongle. It also has Bluetooth 5 as well as USB-C. If you look at the actual keyboard, inside the Dergod badge here is where you'll find the dongle, which is hidden quite nicely, which I think is a really cool touch. This is a 65% size keyboard. Here's just a graph to show you some of the different sizes you can get. So 65% keyboards are super compact and lightweight. The layout does take a little while to get used to if you're coming from like a full size or a 10 keyless style keyboard. But having used this as my daily driver, I am really now starting to see why so many like enthusiasts prefer the smaller size. In terms of the build quality, the overall feel is quite plasticky, but not in like a cheapish way. It is lightweight, it's grams, 613 grams ish, and there's a steel plate inside. The keycaps do come off a little bit too easily for my liking, and I can actually remove some of them without even needing to use a keycap puller, which to me suggests there's maybe some inconsistencies with like quality control. It's not that big of a problem once you actually have the keycaps on, but just something to note. But I do think we have to really talk about the looks of this thing. I mean, this whole kind of like retro vintage gaming aesthetic design, I really, really love it. It's very much in keeping with like my personality and my interest. It does also come in 3 different color variations. I think this version is just really cool looking device. It evokes memories of kind of like the NES, Game Boy era. It's very nostalgic for me and any gamers from my generation. And these ridges at the top kind of remind me of like an Atari console. You know, the gray is also very 80s, early 90s, but with that kind of pop of orange. You know, in a niche that's full of very samey looking keyboards, this just really, really stands out. And as for the typing experience, let me just throw up another sound sample for you. Sounds pretty good, right? I mean, the typing experience with the Cherry MX Reds that I opted for is really smooth, almost relaxing even. So if you're new to the world of mechanical keyboards, these switches affect the typing feel when you press on the keycap. And traditionally you have 3 main types. There's linear, tactile, and clicky. And from there you have a seemingly unlimited amount of different companies and who create different variants of those switches. Now, what switch is best is something that you can really just research for yourself. It just comes down to personal preference, really. I opted for Cherry MX Red switches, which are linear switches, as my other keyboard has MX Brown, which are tactile, and I wanted something that was a little bit different. And wow, I really, really love the feel of these. I've actually never used Cherry MX Reds or linear switches before, but they're super comfortable. I feel like my fingers just kind of glide across them when I'm typing, and it might be almost a little bit too buttery for some people, but again, it's just down to personal preference. I use it via the USB-C cable for the least latency and compared it with the wireless mode, and I really couldn't feel any major difference. I didn't notice any issues with like ghosting or like simultaneous key presses or anything like that. Now, the stabilizers in the keyboard are factory lubed, which helps it to feel and sound better. You'll hear that in comparison to my Ducky keyboard, for example, which has MX Browns, and I don't think comes factory lubed. It sounds quite scratchy and rattly in comparison. As for battery life for wireless use, it kind of ranges anywhere from 20 to 40 days according to their website. I've been using this all week and I've not needed to charge it yet. It's still at like 70% battery, and occasionally I'll just plug in USB-C as well, so I don't really see that being a big problem. Now, one big downside is that this keyboard is actually not hot swappable, which means I can't actually change out the switches, say if I wanted to try out some other ones. So that is kind of a bummer. It's always nice to have the option to mod it out and change the feel of the keyboard if you wanted to in the future. There is also no RGB whatsoever. Right, so if you're looking to get into the world of mechanical keyboards, is this a good choice for you? Well, if you type mechanical keyboards onto Google, you'll see that this is a market that is absolutely flooded with choice at all different price points. The big mainstream brands like, Corsair, Razer, Logitech all have a ton of options. Then there is the delightfully overwhelming but awesome world of custom builds and putting together your own board piece by piece and modding. Ultimately, any mechanical keyboard is still going to be better than an awful cheap office type keyboard which uses like membranes or rubber dome switches, which are just cheaper to make basically. It's really hard to describe it if you've never tried a mechanical keyboard, but when you just use them side by side and you feel that jump in typing feel and quality and the sound, it just makes you want to use it. It makes you want to do stuff and be more productive. And if you're still using like an Apple keyboard or something like that, just burn it. Burn it with fire. Going back to the Durgod, so it does have some quality control issues, which to be fair, I do expect from like a small Kickstarter project company, but what it has going for it, I think it's just cool. So yeah, for me, I'm definitely going to be keeping this and using it as my main kind of gaming work keyboard. I think if you can snag this on sale for around under $100, then that's a steal of a price. I do wish that it was hot swappable, but I can live with the Cherry MX Reds in here, and I really enjoyed typing and gaming on this keyboard. So if you're a content creator, a video editor, programmer, writer, anyone who's just basically using a keyboard for a lot of the time, honestly, having keyboards like this just makes being at your desk and working, and it's just more productive, more enjoyable. Just be careful once you start down that rabbit hole. It's definitely not easy to get out of. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you again to Durgod for sending us this keyboard to review. Absolutely love it. If you have any questions, leave them down there in the comments section below. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for putting up with my stuffy, sick voice. And I guess I will see you on the next video. Peace.